Welcome back to our mandala journey. It's time to draw that next layer. I'm going to go ahead and start by drawing a series of petal outlines. These petals will be 2 grid slots wide and 2 grid slots tall, as you can see here. While I'm interested in making sure that, each petal is rounded and just about the right size, I'm not terribly concerned that they are perfectly, exactly the same. By the end, the small variations in petals, you won't be able to see it. And frankly, when you look at an actual flower, if you look really close, there are small variations within natural petals. So oftentimes, I'm not terribly concerned with these sort of little organic variations that occur while I'm drawing. That's kind of the charm of hand drawing rather than drawing my mandala digitally. Let's go ahead and speed up this process. So inside each petal outline, in order to add an embellishment, I decided to go ahead and add an inner outline. This way our petals will have, later when we color them in with Sharpie, 2 tones in them. It's nice to take this process nice and slow, really making sure that you're doing your best to keep your outline equidistant to that original petal outline that we drew. Again, like I said earlier, those sort of small individual variations I don't fuss about so much, but it is nice to slow down, take some time to concentrate. It really turns this mandala drawing practice into a mindfulness practice. Let's go ahead and speed up the process. Oftentimes when I'm drawing my mandalas, I don't have a specific plan in mind. I just go along with whatever crazy idea comes along next. So as I was planning this next step, I just had a small idea come to mind. I drew a little outline every time 2 petals met, and then drew a point up, radiating out 2 circle grid lines. Now when I drew the outline like I am here, I don't go completely to the center of the petal. I leave a little gap so that when I draw my next outline, these 2 sort of skewed diamond shapes don't wind up touching. I like this idea of creating these skewed diamond shapes without them actually touching any other part of the mandala. It's an interesting way to play with negative space a little bit. Let's see where this goes. I'll go ahead and speed up the process. So when I reflected on the result of that last step, that last drawing experiment I did, I saw that between those 2 skewed diamond shapes, there was a bit of a curved space. So I drew in the curve, like I'm doing here, and then drew in a point right down to that midline. So again, just sort of experimenting as I go on, looking at the spaces and the shapes that are created by these little ideas that come my way, and decide later what I'm going to do next. Just thinking one step at a time. Similar to the ideas taken from Zentangle drawing practice. That way, this drawing can be very mindful and relaxing. Let's see where this goes. I'll go ahead and speed up the process. So again, reflecting upon the results of that last drawing experiment, I noticed that the little spaces left over, again, had a bit of a curve to them. So I drew in these petal shapes that instead of facing outward like the last petal shapes we drew, these ones are facing inward. It's a nice way to sort of end this layer. I'm sure later on I might go in and add some embellishments to these shapes, but it's interesting just to play around sometimes and see what comes to mind and see how your experiments go. As long as you choose one step and repeat it consistently, it usually comes out with some sort of interesting pattern. Let's see how this ends up. I'll go ahead and speed it up a little. Thank you for joining me on this second mandala layer. I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.